7 Crazy Glitch in the Matrix Stories. About 30 seconds ago I was sitting on the couch, as my dog walked by to go sit on her bed we have behind the L part of the sectional. She had something small caught in her throat last night, I think a popcorn shell, so I was paying attention to her breathing just to make sure she got it out. For a few minutes she was breathing fine, and then what sounded like a light snore started happening. This is semi-normal for her depending on what position she is laying in, so I didn't bother to go over and check on her. That went on for about 5 minutes, until the most disgusting and to my now realization, terrifying, snore/cough/wheezing sounds started happening. I go over to her to make sure she's okay, and the exact moment I looked at her bed the sound stopped mid-breath and she wasn't there. She was outside with my parents, had been for around 30 minutes. There's no way to get out of the room without walking right past me. I don't know whose fucking dog I saw, and what was making that creepy sound 5 feet away from me, but I'm going to be staying outside for the rest of the day and hiring an exorcist. Not sure if it's a glitch in the Matrix, or an extremely weird coincidence. Here's my story. My name is Steve, first post here smile. Years and years ago when I was young I used to play video games like any young kid did, it was just my thing. I played every day. I had an Xbox 360. I didn't want anyone to know what my real name was or anything. I was weird, but I made an email for my Xbox Live account. The name on the email I created was under the name of Tom Liza, not really sure why I named the account that, but IT was the first name that came to my head, so I was like, what the heck, I'll just use that. So for years I had this account created with a fake name, Tom Liza. I stopped playing video games and 5 or 6 years go by and I haven't touched the console or video games in general. I'm out one night with my best friend Will. We've just came back from playing dodgeball at this place went to on a Friday night for some fun. I was 17 then and just got my licenses. Like any new driver most of the time you don't know where you're going lol. I was stopped at red light on Route 347, road I was on, headed home. I whipped out my GPS on my phone and IT told me that I needed to get into the turning lane. Stupid me, without looking, turns into the turning lane and sideswiped this 2004 Toyota Corolla. At this point my heart is pounding through my chest because I'm 17 and I've never been in a car accident, nonetheless driving in general for that long. This guy gets out of the car pissed. Long story short, the police arrive, file a police report and the night goes on from there. I get home, tell my mom that I got in a car accident and all that jazz, and she flips out on me. A few days go by and I receive a copy of the accident report. I open the letter and begin to read the report and I stop. I took a second and third look at the police report. The name of the person I got into an accident with was Tom Liza. I still tell this story to this day. I'm 23 now, but I always get the chills from it. Anything ever happen like this to you guys? This just happened. Excuse formatting, I'm on mobile. So I drive a 2015 Nissan Sentra. I did a lot of research into this vehicle when I bought it and it turns out that the vehicle does not have Bluetooth music. Also, to add to that, if you use the USB and try to plug in my phone, a Google Pixel 4 XL, it still won't play music or read directions or anything. More background information, I live in a pretty small hick area. I'm about 45 minutes south of Atlanta and in the town where Alan Jackson grew up in. I was stopped at a gas station just cleaning out my car because I'm about to pick my friend up so we can go to our other friend's house. You know how sometimes when you're stopped somewhere and your phone keeps reading directions to you because it thinks that you're lost or you took a wrong turn? Well, I was listening to a rap station that was cutting in and out because of the gas station. All of a sudden the radio cuts in and says continue on W Road and take a left onto M Road. I know no one would rap about this particular gas station and there's no way that my phone gave directions to my car. I didn't have directions pulled up. And, the directions it gave me weren't even the route I usually go. It was a much quicker way that I didn't even know existed. Now I'm spooked out and I'll be at my friend's house 5 minutes sooner so I can tell him about it. Me, my mom and my dad were recently moving house and found a bunch of old pictures in the loft. We started looking through and it was old pictures of us on holiday, bearing in mind I haven't been abroad in 5 years, so I didn't have the best recollection when it came to all of that. Then my dad came out and said, remember that time we went to Disneyland? The last time we went to Disneyland was when I was 2 so couldn't remember a thing. I replied no dad, I was like 2 at the time. I can't remember a single thing from that holiday. No, the one time we went after, when you were about 10, my dad said. Both me and my mum were confused because neither of us had ever been twice. He then proceeded to find pictures on his phone of said trip and we were all in the photos. Me, my mum, my sister and my dad. So we instantly called my sister, and when we mentioned it she just got confused and said she definitely did not go to Disneyland after the first time. In fact, none of our family or friends remember us going for a second. I understand if I can't remember because I would have been 10, so maybe there's a chance there, but that means my sister would have been 18 and my mum would have been 43. Surely they would remember at that age. We joke about it today, but I'm the only one in the family that questions it. My dad was also able to tell stories off the trip, like the fact I was crying because Mickey Mouse didn't take a picture with me, or the time we were in one of the water rides and he threw himself on top of me to make sure I didn't get wet. Just small stories like that to make us believe him more. Most glitchy thing up till now happened to me and GF yesterday. We're still baffled. A month ago me and my GF spent our holidays in France. We rented a nice little cottage and settled in for the week. We brought a book that was special to us, and I can clearly remember taking it out of my backpack when we arrived there. My GF took the book and placed it into the drawer next to the bed, which she also clearly remembers. Eventually we were so busy with the outdoors that we didn't have time to read the book, so it stayed in the drawer during the whole holiday. Time came to leave the cottage and we were already short on minutes as we had to get to the next place in time, so we rushed a bit during packing. You can guess what happens next. At the next place we discover that we forgot the book. We immediately send a message to the hostess asking if she could look for the book. Alas, new guests had already arrived, so she would take a look next weekend. Next weekend, no book. We're bummed out because it was dear to us and kind of an antiquity. Now this is the part where we both freaked out. We get back home from the holidays. I take a cheeky look inside the drawer in which the book is always kept, and it's there. The book is actually in the drawer? How is this even possible? Did timelines overlap? Did we never take the book in our own timeline but experienced a different timeline in France? Still gives me shivers. We are both 100% sure that we both had held the book in the cottage. My sister came from overseas and stayed for 2 weeks. The day she was leaving, she went into her suitcase and her passport was missing from one particular pocket. Strange, because her son's passport was still in that same pocket. Even more strange is that she made sure that the passports were the only things in this pocket and that they need not be touched ever until going home. She had to leave in 2 hours and was stressing out. So the whole family looked everywhere. And I mean everywhere: inside the washing machine, outside in the gardens, inside the microwave, pantry, no spot left unturned. The house was a mess. My brother, who does nothing but play games, had a simple room. A mattress on the floor, TV on the floor and an armchair. Of course his room was the easiest to check. Lift everything up, shake the blankets, done. And that's what he did. Nothing. I kept walking past his room with this unsure feeling, thinking it might be in here, not sure as to why I thought that. It was completely random. I told him, check again. He checks and nothing. I watch him flip his mattress, shake his blankets, check through and under his armchair, etc. Nothing. We all give up and retire to the family room, looking in to make an emergency passport and book another flight for another day. I go back into my brother's room to fulfill this unsure feeling I had. I just had to do it myself. I shook his blanket and out fell my sister's passport. It was the weirdest thing. I saw him shake it before. I shout out, found it. And my brother runs in asking where? WTF. My sister never went into my brother's room cause there was no reason to. We all found it strange, nothing added up. It felt like someone helped us out and put it there. Somehow. We quickly packed up and zoomed off to the airport and forgot about how or what happened. I've been working in the same place for 5 years now, and for 4 of those years I had no car in which I had to use public transport. One day whilst waiting for my bus, I got up to go to the nearby stores to buy something to eat since I still had time. I had to walk past a bank which had recently closed down and relocated. I used the ATMs there many times before to withdraw money. When I came back outside from the store I went to, I walked back in the same direction to return to the bus stop. The street was quite busy, but what grabbed my attention was a man who was walking past the bank, in my direction. There is a small rectangular cutout, 70 cm x 200 cm, in front of this bank, which was not parallel with the rest of the shop fronts but pushed in a bit. This is where the ATM machines were. The man crossed diagonally amongst the public, which is what grabbed my attention because he went against the flow of traffic, and walked into that section where the ATM machines were. I found it odd because I knew that the ATM machines were no longer there and were replaced by wooden boards. So I watched steadily and continued on, eating and waiting for the man to come back out of the corner. He didn't, And so I was expecting to see the man standing there when I walked past. To my shock, he was not there. No one. I stood there, so confused, just looking around to see if anyone just saw what I saw. No one noticed. I felt like I was crazy. That I was seeing things, but I still remember every single moment. I did not look away one bit, so it was impossible that he could have walked away in another direction. This man disappeared out of thin air. I was going to walk in the nearby shops and ask if I could see their cameras, but then thought they wouldn't give me access to that. And for what? Because I just saw a man disappear? They'd think I was crazy. So I just went back to the bus stop and continued to wait in confusion. We came to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.